Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go. Hello and welcome to today's DNS session. We are going to pick up today's newspaper and discuss articles important for civil service examination as per the demand of the exam. The articles to be taken up are there on the screen, and the time stamping will also be there on the screen if you go to the description section. This is the editorial article from page number 6, At Home. This article is basically concerning Supreme Court's judgment that recently has come. Supreme Court has made an important intervention banning the adoption process that was being attempted to carry out illegally. Supreme Court has directed the state and union territory governments to prevent any NGO from collecting funds in the name of affected children by disclosing their identity and inviting interested persons to adopt them. This is illegal. Supreme Court has made the observation that such kind of invitation for the purpose of adoption goes against Juvenile Justice Act 2015 because according to this legislation, no adoption of a child can be permitted without the involvement of Central Adoption Resource Authority. So Supreme Court has asked the state governments to take action against NGOs or individuals who are indulging in such illegal adoption process. The reason is adoption is of children and children are vulnerable sections. In the name of adoption, child trafficking can be done. So it's important that the process of adoption is a formal one and it necessarily involves Central Adoption Resource Authority, CARA. Central Adoption Resource Authority, first of all, is a statutory body. It works under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. It has been working since 1990s. But it has been given the statutory status in 2016 under the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. Government of India ratified in 2003 the Hague Convention on Inter-Country Adoption 1993. So an important body which preferentially should be statutory was required for the need of regulating this inter-country adoption. And finally, in 2016, statutory status was given to Central Adoption Resource Authority, which was already working since 1990. So regulations on adoption-related matter is formulated by CARA. You must note that Central Adoption Resource Authority has allowed individuals in a live-in relation to adopt children from within India. This decision was taken in 2018. So CARA is at the helm of affairs in the matter of adoption. CARA must be involved in any adoption process that is taking within India. Supreme Court although has passed this judgment of banning all the adoptions of children who have become orphaned in last 1 year. But Supreme Court obviously was informed by National Commission for Protection of Child Rights in a separate case. NCPCR has a portal called as Bal Swaraj. In this Bal Swaraj portal, it has been informed to the Supreme Court that between April 1 last year and June 5 this year, this is the period during which India and the world saw the first wave and the second wave of pandemic. During this period, 3,621 children were orphaned. Around 26,000 lost their parents and some 274 were abandoned across the country. These are just official figures. The actual number obviously will be much more. These many children have been registered at Bal Swaraj portal. But we understand that the entire number has not come out of COVID-19 pandemic. There would have been some numbers despite the pandemic. But yes, there has been substantial increase in the official figure of children becoming orphaned and children who have lost at least one parent. In this regard, you must also be aware that National Commission for Protection of Child Rights is also a statutory body. It has been established under an Act of Parliament and the Act is Commission for Protection of Child Rights Act 2005. It has not been formed under Juvenile Justice Act 2015. But this commission also works under the aegis of Ministry of Environment and Child Development. The purpose of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights is to ensure that all laws, policies, programs, administrative mechanisms, all of them are in consonance with the child rights perspective as enshrined in the Constitution of India and the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Although there are various definitions of child in India, but the definition taken up by the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights is person up to the age of 18 years. Adoption as a social, emotional, or legal process has lots of benefits. If you look from the perspective of child that is getting adopted, the child who is in the critical need of resource, of having a stable life, loving family, to fulfill the emotional need of child, to fulfill the physical need of the child of having food, shelter, and clothing, and also the cognitive need, the need of getting literate, the need of getting educated, the need of getting informed. These needs of child which will not otherwise get fulfilled properly if the child may be living with a relative or with foster parents. If a couple adopts a child and treats that child as their son or daughters, then the basic need of the child will be fulfilled in a better manner. If you look at it from the perspective of parents who are adopting children, they will get the opportunity to experience parenthood. Adopting a child also allows mother to continue pursuing their goals without putting their either education or career on hold, which otherwise inadvertently will be affected because of pregnancy. If you look at it from the perspective of parents who are giving their children to the adopting parents, meaning a couple is not adopting an orphan child, but a couple is adopting child from biological parents, then in that case, the biological parents will have relief from the financial and emotional stress. Maybe the pregnancy was unplanned, or maybe it is a case of a single parent. And raising a child in that case would be very, very taxing. If the adoption is done in an institutionalized manner, then it also gives a peace of mind to the giving parents, the biological parents, that their child would be raised by a pre-screened adoptive parents who will provide a safe, stable, loving, and nurturing home. Not so much in India, but in foreign countries, there are proper institutional mechanisms that the biological parents can have a right to visit the child, meaning it's an open or semi open adoption. In that case, the child gets love and affection of both the biological parents and the adopting parents, and both the parents have the opportunity of experiencing that parenthood. On the social level, if you come to think about it, raising a child is the responsibility of entire society in different ways, in different degree. There's an old adage that it takes an entire village to raise a child or to raise a girl child. So the social collective responsibility towards the younger generation is exhibited full scale in this social process of adoption. But to fulfill this collective responsibility, there has to be value of generosity. And that value of generosity may come innately in the time of disaster. And in society like India, where collectiveness is common, couples can be more than willing to adopt a child. But you see, if love and affection are not channelized and regulated, then there could be some inadvertent adverse effect. After 2004 deadly tsunami, there were many campaigns calling for people to adopt children who were rendered orphan in several Asian countries. But it took a while for some affected countries to wake up to the reality that lax enforcement of adoption rules may have led to child trafficking in some cases. And after that, many countries strengthened their child adoption rules. Children are vulnerable to trafficking. So it's important, extremely important, that child adoption is done in a formal manner. This is a lead article from page number 6, The Promise and Perils of Digital Justice Delivery. See, the concept of digital justice delivery was started to get implemented through e-court project. And back in 2005, the E-Committee of Supreme Court of India submitted a report, National Policy and Action Plan for Implementation of Information and Communication Technology in the Indian judiciary. This E-Committee of the Supreme Court was actually constituted by Government of India. And recently, this E-Committee has released its draft vision document for Phase 3 of E-Courts project. Although there are some limitations in Phase 1 and Phase 2 and work needs to be done there, but mostly Phase 1 and Phase 2 of E-Courts project is considered to be completed and successful. The E-Courts project or E-Courts Mission Mode project is a pan-India project and monitored and funded, pay attention, monitored and funded by Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice. The purpose is to use ICT, information and communication technology, in decision support systems and to automate the judicial process. For example, digitization of lawyers' submission, the digital summoning or e-summoning to the concerned parties. So, judicial processes were intended to be digitized. And this was the concern of phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, phase 2 basically was just this, giving information and communication technologies to the decision support system of the courts and digitization, the process of judiciary. And doing so much yielded lots of benefits. It increased transparency because obviously different parties, the stakeholders, can access information more freely and in a more decentralized manner. The process of digitization obviously has increased the judicial productivity and has helped in efficient and time bound delivery of justice. Around 3.27 crore cases are pending before Indian courts, of which 85,000 have been pending for more than 30 years. So the e-court project will help rectify this long delays with which Indian courts are marred. The benefit of the e-courts project was very much visible and appreciated during the time of COVID-19 pandemic. The digital justice delivery has helped ensure judicial accessibility despite the lockdowns. So far, so good. But concerns are being raised for phase 3 of e-courts project. Phase 3 will be a step up. Obviously, it will have the elements of phase 1 and phase 2, like digitization of courts process and to upgrade the electronic infrastructure of judiciary. But additionally, it will have other novel elements which have to be scrutinized. For example, the vision document of the E-Committee of Supreme Court envisage large-scale data collection exercise. It has been said that this will help in future policy making. The document also envisage a 360-degree approach to data collection. 360-degree approach meaning you are making a profile, a 360-degree profile of each person concerned by integrating all of their interactions with the government agencies into one unified database. Meaning as much information government carries, different departments and agencies in silos in fragmented manner, all of that will be unified. So this will not only include information related to the crime or the criminal information, it may also have civil information. The vision document also talks about an ecosystem approach. The ecosystem approach means the information will have a seamless exchange between various branches of the state, such as judiciary, police, the prison system, and it will be done through interoperable criminal justice system. But author sees problem with all these three major bold steps that the document envisages to take. In the opinion of the author, this is going to be exclusionary and will increase inequality in accessing the justice system. To make his point good, the author uses an example that for years and years, the entire community has been labeled as habitual offenders. By whom? By local police stations. And the concern is that the first layer of data collection will happen here. And the local police station all over the country does not elicit much confidence. Then the concern is also of profiling and surveillance. The fact is that the data that will be collected, collated, that will be housed in the Home Ministry. So far in phase 1 and phase 2, data was localized. But now this localized data is going to be centralized. When you do 360-degree profiling, this is already being done by technology companies, but they do it for the purpose of advertisement. If government does, and it is openly being said that the government will do 360-degree approach profiling, then there is an increased threat of targeted surveillance. Because what else will the 360-degree approach serve in the criminal justice system? The reason of policy making does not sound very sound. And on top of it, if the data is going to be housed in Home Ministry, there is going to be more concerns. Right to privacy is a fundamental right after the Puttaswamy judgment of Supreme Court. And when the data is being freely shared and the data storage is getting centralized, then this concern of right to privacy of Indian citizen is a legitimate one. Especially when still we have lack of data protection regime law and the data protection bill is still pending. So the author has come up with certain recommendations. First and foremost, we must abandon the ecosystem approach. In the opinion of the author, the different branches of a state must remain separate. And if they must remain separate, seamless information exchange does not make sense. The data must be localized rather than centralized in the Home Ministry. And most importantly, the manner and the way in which the data will be collected must be anonymous. It must be aggregated, meaning individual profiling should not be done. On a large scale, you can take statistical information about certain issues. For example, you may collect the information on particular kind of crime, their numbers and their frequency, without identifying the individuals. And this can be done if the process is uniform. The entry fields in the softwares is standardized. The benefit of the eCode project is immense. It is a beautiful example of technology coming in aid of governance. But as I said, technology is a good servant but a bad master. Technology must be used within the constraint of fulfilling the fundamental rights of Indian citizens and the constitutional provisions. The title of this article from page number 13 says, "No decision yet on Indian Consulate in Addu Atoll," says President Solih. See, the thing is, in the last week of the last month, Union Cabinet approved opening of a new Consulate General of India in the Addu city of Maldives or Maldives. The stated purpose of opening the new consulate is to ease up the process of clearance of visa. And hand in hand, it will also help augment the diplomatic presence of India in the Maldives, making it commensurate to the aspired level of engagement. India has very strong ties with Maldives, and the tie is historic. It is ethnic, cultural, economic, and defense related ties. Although Indian government has given the green signal for opening up the new consulate, the Maldivian government has not made up its mind. And the silence has come in the backdrop of ongoing Save Addu hashtag on the social media. This online campaign is being carried out by some section of Maldivians who are skeptical of India's presence in the Addu Atoll. Addu Atoll is the southernmost atoll of Maldives. The skepticism of Maldivians regarding India's presence in Maldives, or particularly in Addu Atoll, is not a new one. The anti-India sentiment among Maldivians have been reflected many times. For example, recently, after the release of draft Lakshadweep Development Authority regulation, anti-India sentiment was developing in some section of Maldivians because Maldivians share historic, ethnic, and cultural ties with people of Lakshadweep. The new notification was seen as a kind of impingement on the rights of peoples of Lakshadweep. Last year, a coalition of opposition parties conducted India Out campaign to protest against massive developmental funding for creation of infrastructure and deepening defense ties between India and Maldives. In 2018, there broke a serious diplomatic incident between India and Maldives. Since 2013, Maldives was holding two advanced light helicopters from India. It was gifted to Maldives, but it was operated by Indian Coast Guard and Indian Navy. But the previous government in the year 2018 refused to extend the visas of Indian military personnel, and they asked us to take back our helicopters. Obviously, you know on behest of whom. But India has consistently given help to Maldives. India has given 400 billion line of credit for Greater Malay Connectivity Project. In this project, the capital city of Maldives was to be connected with three neighboring islands through construction of bridges. India gave 400 billion line of credit for this. Line of credits are loans at very low interest rate. India also extended $250 million of budgetary support for Maldives. Budgetary support meaning you are financing the budget of a country, acting as an external financing agency. Government needs money to finance the expenditure mentioned in the budget, and for that government borrow money from internal market or from external agency. So when a country acts as an external financing agency to meet the expenditure mentioned in the budget, that is called as budgetary support. India has helped advance the tourism industry in Maldives. Post the first wave of COVID-19, India and Maldives signed an agreement called as Air Bubble Agreement to have quarantine-free arrival of people from each country. India recently also has signed an agreement for developing of 5 ecotourism zones in the southern Addu Atoll. And India also is considering the idea of 700-kilometer Malé-Kochi ferry service. Not to forget, India has generously supplied COVID-19 medicine to Maldives as part of Mission Sagar. Apart from providing these financial and humanitarian assistance, India also has respected the diplomatic norms. India has stayed clear of internal affairs of Maldives. You would remember when the country was under rough weather, Prime Minister did not visit the country on his South Asia tour. We have followed the principle of mutual respect and non-interference in each other's internal matter. Maldives being special to us, we have always considered it as a special country under Neighborhood First policy and the Gujarat Doctrine. And we can only hope that the good behavior of India will yield good results. Now answer some questions based on your 20 minutes of learning. India has ratified Hague Convention on Inter-Country Adoption 1993. True or false? This is a true statement. India has ratified it in 2003. And to enforce the convention preferentially, India must have had a statutory body. So CARA was made a statutory body in 2016. Individuals in a live-in relationship in India cannot adopt children. In 2017-18, CARA came up with a notification that live-in relationship does not have sanctity of a marriage. So people in live-in relationship cannot adopt children, but that was taken back. The state of the matter presently is that individuals in live-in relationship can adopt children. And Supreme Court has given live-in relationship the sanctity of marriage. Statement 3 is National Commission for Protection of Child Rights is a statutory body. Correct till here. Established under Juvenile Justice Act 2015. No. As we have seen, it has been established under the Commission for Protection of Child's Right Act 2005. So incorrect again. A child of 21 years can be adopted in India. We have seen that the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights defines a child as a person till the age of 18 years. So only people below 18 years can be adopted, and by definition, they are child. A person of 21 years of age is not a child in any definition. Next statement is the E-Courts Mission Mode project is a pan-India project monitored and funded by Ministry of Home Affairs. Incorrect again. We have seen that it is monitored and funded by Ministry of Law and Justice. The last question for you. Among Chagos Archipelago, Lakshadweep group of islands and Seychelles, Addu Atoll is closest to. Addu Atoll is closest to Seychelles or Lakshadweep or Chagos Archipelago. And the answer is Chagos Archipelago. As you can see from the map here, Addu Atoll is this, the southernmost atoll of Maldives. And you can see that among Lakshadweep Island and Chagos Archipelago and Seychelles, it's closest to Chagos Archipelago. Answer to yesterday's question of the day and today's question of the day is there on the screen. Please attempt the question, report your answer in the comment section, and also try to attempt the DNS quiz on the ELEARN platform. Goodbye. Take care.